Well, good morning. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Transparency Idaho State Police Forensic Services Crime Scene Manual. How about that? How about that? You want a little bit of truth? Good morning. What you guys are seeing on the page right here. We're going to talk about the crime scene. We're going to talk about protocols, procedures. This is how Idaho State Police Forensic Services is trained post. So yeah. Also, I don't know if I told you guys this, but I did get on Monday, July 28th. I don't know if I shared this with you guys, but I got a response from the Idaho State Police. And Dear Lana, the Idaho State Police received a public records request from you on 7/28. And you were requesting Mike Van Leuven and Gary Tolson's body-worn camera or dash cam for their interview of Jack DeCore between November 14th, 2022 and December 29th, 2022. The Idaho State Police does not have any responsive documents. Idaho State Police troopers and detectives did not have body-worn cameras during their time frame of this case. During the time frame of this case, the Idaho State Police troopers and detectives did not have body-worn cameras during the time frame of this case. Dash cams were not used during the interviews of that individual. Second one here, July 28th, Monday, July 28th. Dear Lana, the Idaho State Police received a public records request from you on 7/28. In quotes, I am requesting all body-worn camera and dash camera footage from interviews conducted by Idaho State Police in the Brian Kober case number. Here is a list to get started with. This is what I wrote them. Jack Showalter, Dylan Mortensen, Bethany Funk, Jack DeCore, Adam Laud, Emily Allant, Hunter Johnson, Josie's on a vacation far away, Brent Kapaka, Molly McMichael, Steve Gonsalves, Chrissy Gonsalves, and Olivia Gonsalves. In response, the Idaho State Police does not have any responsive documents. Idaho State Police troopers and detectives did not have body-worn camera at the time of this case. Dash cams were not used during any of the interviews involving the listed individuals. So I put in other requests, but I wanted to make sure I shared that with you guys. That no body-worn cameras and no dash cam were going to feature those people. Okay? Now, that does not mean that they didn't use recording devices or if they had them down at the station, that they didn't have, see how specific you have to be? Because they were just talking about what I was talking about because I was eliminating things. Anyways, what you guys are looking at is a copy of 191 pages for the lovely Idaho State Police and how they are to go through a crime scene and precautions, scene security, coordination with the investigating agency, crime scene investigation methodology, observations and notes, photographs. Oh my God, there's a section on photographs. There's a section on diagrams and sketches, presumptive blood tests, evidence, biological evidence collection, blood enhancement chemicals, recognition and documentation of evidence for reconstruction. I mean, you name it that would have taken place. There is a protocol and procedure. This was issued on 12/31/2024 by the quality manager. And so there was some obvious revision history, but it's very minimal compared to what would have been done in 2022. So now, everything that we are seeing, I want everybody to know that everything that we are seeing that has come out to anybody, anywhere, is from not Idaho State Police. Idaho State Police, CSI, none of the videos, or I'm sorry, not videos, but pictures that have come out, none of them are from them. Anybody that's telling you otherwise is lying. All of those photos are coming from Moscow Police Department, okay? And that would be Schneider's report 4 And that was their initial when they had first got there. And so anybody that's telling you that bodies were removed when those pictures were taken is lying as well. Okay. So Ann Taylor asked for training records for people, if you remember back in the day. She wanted to point out if certain people are doing certain things, right? I want training records for blah, 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 blah. And she was like, I don't want everybody's training records. I just wanted a select few. Remember how she wanted Vargas's training records? Remember that? Remember how she wanted Gary Tolson's training records? Remember how she wanted a Gunderson from the Idaho State Police's training records? We'll get into why she wanted that now that I actually have more documentation. But just so we're clear, if we're going to talk about crime scene photos and we're going to talk about the people that were doing things, and we're going to talk about the history of the case, things were clearly being questioned on how stuff was being done. Oh, and then at the bottom here, proficiency testing. This would have come up had there been a trial to talk about anybody that worked in the lab, which I have all their CVs. So I'm going to let you guys, as the consumer of this broadcast and program today, I'm going to let you pick which of the numbers you want to see first. Do you guys want to see? Remember, this is Idaho State Police, but Idaho State Police, this is how they train people that would go to post, aka Moscow Police Department. Yeah. But so go ahead, throw up which one. We'll talk about one of them. Let's go with number 9, photography. Okay. How's that sound? Yeah, that sounds perfect. I would love to wake up to your voice talking about photos. This is not going to take long because I'm going to jump right into some pics then. We're going to go to page 60 then. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Lana. Photographs. 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 Is this good? Is this big enough for you guys? I made it a little bigger. There you go. How's that? Welcome to class. Josie's on a vacation far away. Sorry, when that song just gets in my head, guys, I just can't stop. Miss Potts, welcome. And she says, I bother Lana every day with my bullshit. That is an understatement. Last night at midnight, I get a call. Hey, are you still up? Well, of course I am. Well, what are you doing? Well, actually, I'm printing off stuff in the Delphi case. What are you doing, Miss Potts? Well, I just could not stop talking about and thinking about this blood. Oh, really? Well, I was just going to take a drive to go pick up a Coke. Do you want me to talk to you for a little bit about this blood? Yes. Anyways, back at it. Miss Potts is a beautiful human. So, again, welcome, good morning, happy Saturday to everybody. She's like, you're going to have Rotor on. I was like, yeah, on Tuesday. So all those questions that you want, how about you give me a list and I'll go through them. And yeah. All right, back over here. Idaho State Police. Again, remember the photos that we're looking at though, hey, that's MPD right when they got there marching around. So crime scene photograph, photography shall be accordance with the ISPFS quality manual. The intent of crime scene photography is to document the condition, orientation, and spatial relationships spatial relationships in the case and to show details of specific items found in the scene in order to provide CSIs, investigators, and ultimately the jury. Hello, yes, the jury. Look at that. So I love it that they're talking about, hey, this is for the jury, with a visual representation of the elements and nature of the scene. So that's the purpose. What's the intent? There's your intent. It is, hey, the intent is everybody that's going to look at this case, the investigators and the defense team's going to come along and their people, So that's the intent. Crime scene photographs should lead the viewer of the photographs through the scene from an overall perspective up to the details of specific items of evidence. So this is why I'm not too happy with mainstream media and the way they're releasing these photos. They're just going all through like this 182 batch and just like, oh, here we'll just show this one, and then over here we'll show this one, and then you have the internet guessing at, wait, where is this at? Where was this taken from? Okay, like we shouldn't have to play that guessing game. In fact, I think it's absolutely ludicrous. If you're going to release your photos, you go in order, and I hope that you would be saying where they're from, where they like. But if you actually go in order, then you would know where they're from. So you have everybody playing a guessing game when you don't have to play a guessing game. It's just reckless. Okay. So photographs taken for general crime scene documentation are considered part of the note-taking process. These are part of your notes. It's important. All photographs taken at a crime scene shall be uploaded to Adam's Web or equivalent digital imaging system in a folder named the same as the lab number associated with the response. So, for example, 2018 that would be the year of that case, -9876. Due to the size of the Liz Q image captures, the images and resulting sphericals shall not be uploaded to Adam's Web or equivalent digital imaging system. Captures and sphericals shall be saved. So that's just everything. That's going to be more for, we can pass that. Okay. All images uploaded to Adam's Web have a chain of custody maintained within the system. Imagine that word, chain of custody. Boom. Chain of custody. I love it. Give it a pink look there. Chain of custody, imagine. In the circumstance that an image is utilized for some other purpose, e.g., a latent print comparison, the original image is kept in the system, unaltered, and a working copy then is generated. So you're going to then make a copy of whatever it is that you want, and so that you're not going to work off of the original. Okay, you're going to make a copy of it, and it's generated by the system, and then any changes made to the working copy are documented in the system. It's like showing your work. It's like, how did you get to this? This is how Idaho State Police is trained to do it. Any changes made to the working document are documented by the system. It's in the system. That means there's got to be metadata behind that. It's just when you did it. If the storage capacity of Adam's Web or the equivalent digital imaging system becomes such that storage of Liz Q images and sphericals is supported, then that system should be utilized for storage, and the process of saving to tandem external hard drives shall be ceased. Whoop, ixnayed. When a folder is made on scene prior to the assignment of a lab number, this is important. They did a lot of work on scene. Okay, so this is how this would have been done. The folder should be labeled with the date, the location of the scene, or other distinguishing information, and should be renamed once a lab number is assigned. All photographs taken at a crime scene shall be provided to the investigating agency. So that would be Moscow Police Department. Moscow Police Department. They're the investigating agency. Images may be saved to digital media, which is like a compact disc, removable drive, SD card, downloaded from the camera's memory card to the agency's digital imaging system or other equivalent transfer. So when I was looking through Payne's shiz, and all the photographs that were taken on 11/13, then 11/14. Anytime that those were taken, the way that I'm understanding this is all photographs taken at a crime scene shall be provided to the investigating agency. Images may be saved to digital media, which what digital media means is a compact disc, removable drive, SD card. Those are like examples. And so those images may be saved to the digital media, downloaded from the camera's memory card to the agency's digital imaging system or other equivalent transfer. If the images are transferred directly to the agency, the date, time, and name of person conducting or facilitating that transfer shall be noted. Imagine that. I mean, think about it like this. Anything that you do in life, you document. If you run a pool and it's a city operated pool and you have the person at the front gate who is checking in people. Remember before like technology got all wild? We had passes and we would get there and then they had to write our name down, what time we got there, what time we left. I mean, right? They would look at our photo that we had on our little pass to make sure that, that was us, or if we had like a family pass. Like you document. Like it's just like it's in everyday life. You just don't even realize that you document when you do like to-do lists. If the images are saved to a digital media to be provided to the agency at a later date, the date of transfer, which in this case I believe would have happened, that's just my gut, is how they would have handled this case. The date of transfer to digital media, as well as the intended method of delivery, should be made in the case notes. Now, if they were all co-located at Moscow Police Department, okay, that's where they would be like all working together on the case, right? So I would expect this to have happened really, really like quickly. I mean, but if they're just like, okay, well, we still have the crime scene and we're just going to go in and out whenever we want, right? We have that too, and everything just stayed. I mean, after finalization of the case notes pages, any notes related to the delivery and or pickup of digital media should be made in the case correspondence area in ILIMS. Again, documentation. Photographs taken for comparison purposes, such as those taken for latent prints, footwear impressions, and tire impressions, shall be treated as evidence as per the ISPFS quality manual. That's what this is. Idaho State Police Forensic Science Quality Manual. That's what this is. Photos taken for comparison shall be uploaded to Adams Web or equivalent digital imaging system as per up top there 9.31. Idaho State Police has a discipline which may be conducting the comparison. So latent prints, it's a big thing here with this case. Then an item shall be created in the ILIMS case utilizing digital media as the item type. The custody of the digital media item shall be transferred from the CSI to the custody of evidence storage in Meridian. That's in Boise. That's 5.5 hours away from Moscow. And the location shall be final disposition 4A. Oh, okay. So they're just telling you everything that you got to do. A statement shall be added to the report indicating that photographs for potential comparisons were captured and that the agency should contact ISPFS if comparisons are needed. This is all chain of custody. Idaho State Police primarily uses digital single lens reflex, so DSLR. You know who's really good with photography is Bella is amazing. So she comments all the time to me like, who do they have doing pictures? Even when she sees like the pool pass with like, the Associated Press had the pictures to take for the Idaho4 sentencing and all that. And she would comment and be like, these are just god awful. And then when I actually like listen to what she's saying and she's explaining things, she's like she's dead on. She's like, what are they doing? So So again, everything's really big with what? Chain of custody documenting. Digital images are numbered sequentially. Can you imagine that? As they are captured. Wow, no way. Say it ain't so. Woo-wee. Thank God. That makes sense, right? In the camera's shooting display menu. Oh God, look at file number sequence shall be set to on. Can you imagine that? Just, yeah, exactly. There's the order that we took these photos. This allows, oh my God, why would you do that? This allows the image file numbers to continue sequentially from 0001 to 9999. Oh, boom. And this is where we get this. This is what Ann Taylor received in her first discovery request, or what they provided. And it was, remember we saw, this was attached and it said 0001 to 9999. You guys remember that? It went to whatever number it was. So the file numbers of images captured for each scene shall be documented in the case notes. The LizQ system assigns both image numbers and spherical numbers. The numbers cannot be changed. Spherical numbers shall be documented in crime scene notes, which may include the LizQ capture notes. There you go. Digital images shall not be deleted. You hear me? I don't care if it's out of focus. You don't delete shit. Okay, because you don't want a number to be missing, because then that just is going to the integrity or somebody being able to say that you deleted for some type of purpose. So if an image is not, as the photographer intended, flash didn't fire, image not focus, etc., they shall retain the unintended image and shall take additional images as necessary to capture the subject, whatever they are taking pictures of. That is, like, to me, common motherfucking sense. Okay? Like, yeah, you would never want anyone to believe that you went through and deleted shit after the fact, right? So, I mean, it's just like, can you imagine taking a test on this? We would all pass because we have common sense. Okay, common sense goes a long way in test taking. As long as you don't have anxiety about tests, okay? It truly does. If this was a multiple choice question right here, I think we would all get this correct without even reading this manual. Now, since we've read this manual part, I think that we wouldn't miss a single question. If there's any possibility of confusion between intended photographs and unintended photographs, unintended photograph of our vehicle's trunk while photographing a vehicle being processed, a notation should be made in the case notes. Duh. And explain it. Explain it. There's no time. Nobody says to you, I read this whole manual. Nobody says to you, hey, guess what? You're on the clock and you only have 2 hours to process this scene. Go. Take your time, people. You're not there. Fuck, you're also getting paid. You get paid by the hour, right? Shit, then collect your overtime. So, like, just take your time. But there should never be, like, why something's not noted. Like, you can just tell that person is a lazy piece of shit. If a LizQ capture is canceled by the CSI, or the CSI is concerned that there was an error in the capture process, the affected capture / series may be deleted. Any deleted capture shall be repeated. That's kind of confusing right there. I'm not going to lie, that wording. Digital media can be stored in different file formats which affect the quality of the image. So file formats include JPEG, TIFF, and RAW. Image quality changes can be selected from the shooting menu of the camera. JPEG images are sufficient quality for general crime scene documentation. An image quality of JPEG fine is preferred. RAW images are of ideal quality for comparison quality photographs. Comparison. So, like, that would be like a test question. Why would you ever want to do RAW images? Oh, that's when we want to do the quality, the comparison for the quality photographs. It would have A, B, C, D, E. Okay. In order to concurrently capture both a documentation photograph and a comparison quality photograph of a subject, the NEF, RAW, and JPEG fine or similar options can be selected from the image quality. So you're able to do this while you are taking the picture. So, okay, Bella, if you're listening, this is what I want you to do. I said that she would be one fine, fantastic crime scene photographer. This is exactly what she told me. She's like, Lana, you would be switching things for whatever it is that you were taking a picture of. Da-da-da, and da-da-da, and da-da-da. And I'm over here like, oh, yeah, that makes sense, right? Like, think about what we do with our freaking kids, you know? How we take family freaking pictures, you know, whatever. When we're taking a picture, whatever, like we're messing with our camera before we're taking the picture. So don't you think that you'd be doing the same thing with a freaking crime scene? Again, it's like, oh, yeah, it totally makes sense. My voice is going to be shot. So again, every photo that we've seen so far has not been from Idaho State Police. So Moscow Police PD has been the only to release their photos. Anybody telling you different is a liar. Thanks, Hobby Master. Beautiful human you are too. $5 holla whoop. Thank you. Next up, memory cards shall be utilized to store all images taken when using the camera. Rather than saving images to the camera's internal storage, that's worth taking a note of. Memory card shall be formatted prior to use. Makes sense. Simply deleting images from memory cards is not sufficient to completely erase all digital artifacts. Prior to starting photography of a scene, the CSI shall check the camera settings and adjust them as necessary based on the scene lighting and the types of photographs to be taken. God, that seems like common sense. A quick reference guide for camera settings is included in each camera case. The date automatically updates and should be current. Interesting. Imagine that. The time does not adjust for daylight savings time. Imagine that. Okay. Now we talking my language. I love these little tidbits. The time on these puppies does not adjust for daylight savings time. So just want everybody to know that the week prior to, it was daylight savings on that November 6th, on that Sunday, or Saturday going into Sunday. So these settings may be checked prior to beginning, photographing to confirm correctness. So not sure if any of their cameras were used between November 6th and November 13th, but daylight savings did happen. The camera should be turned off prior to adding or removing any auxiliary equipment. And this is going to go with what I was looking and finding. So I'm like, auxiliary equipment, what are we talking about? Camera lenses can be adjusted to either manual focus or autofocus. The CSI should be cognizant of which area in the composed photograph is in focus. This can be monitored by the indicators that illuminates when looking through the viewfinder. Oh my God, no way. Like, it tells you. White balance should be set to auto unless the CSI has received specialized training in the proper use of alternate settings. Depth of field is adjusted by changing the f-stop setting. The CSI should adjust the f-stop setting based on what elements of the scene should be in focus. Oh my God, no way. Taking photographs with the camera in manual mode is the preferred setting so that all elements of the photograph capture can be adjusted. CSIs may choose to select aperture priority mode, shutter priority mode, and or programmed auto mode as appropriate for the scene. CSIs may choose to select auto mode as appropriate for the scene or for their experience level. So makes sense. It's like somebody editing. You know, are you an experienced editor with making videos, or are you just, hey, I don't know what I'm doing, I just need to like put some shit together. Well, then you do not want to get Pinnacle profile, or you do not want to go get Pinnacle 26 professional, okay? because you're going to have to teach yourself a lot. All right. So see, like there's a lot to this. It's, you better know how to use your equipment, right? So we're going to skip all this because this is just about the equipment. We're going to go to the, because that's going to teach you how to take a picture and have it do certain things, which I'm not here to teach you that. I'm here to teach you. Okay. Here we go. Photographs shall be taken in a systematic method. The photograph shall include 3 types of photographs: orientation, relationship, and identification. This was huge for what the media missed. Okay. The media is just throwing out these pictures with no orientation, relationship, and what's that keyword right there? Identification. And that was reckless as fuck. And I'm sorry, but we're over here trying to play guessing games on where this taken from. What room is that? Like, why would you do that? But they want to have a 3-minute clip on their broadcast to breaking news. We interrupt your broadcast to bring you breaking news. Crime scene photos have been released by the Moscow Police Department, but you're not getting any of them unless you live in Idaho for 28 days. Here's a couple of them. Awesome. And then 3 hours later, we're going to drip you a couple more photos. We're going to drip you a couple more photos 3 hours later after that. Why? Isn't this exactly what the family said that they didn't want? Well, who's causing the drippage? They got all 182 pictures all at once. The media did. The media in Idaho. And then let's say they were CBS and whatever, then they would probably give it to their affiliates from other states. But they're just want to drip certain things. And then I say to myself, that's what they always do. This is nothing different. Yay. If you want the truth, you just put it out there and it is what it is. There's no need of narrative. Okay. If you were the photographer, okay, the photographer here, the photographer should take photographs systematically, such as moving clockwise or counterclockwise around a room. Dude, doesn't that make sense? Isn't that why we don't need to play guessing games as to where somebody would be standing when taking a picture? Because it's just going to go, you're going to have basically 5 in a row that are circling the room. Yep, such as moving clockwise or counterclockwise around a room so that there is a logical flow. Oh my God, I love this word. Please start hiring logical people. The logical flow. Oh, imagine. In order to be logical, you have to have common sense, though. The purpose of overall photographs is to depict the general condition and layout of the scene. Oh my God, the layout. Holy shit, no way. That's what oh my God, now it makes sense. These photographs capture how the scene is oriented, where major landmarks, e.g. doors, furniture, etc., are located, and the condition of the scene prior to any significant alteration. Because guess what? You are allowed to move things. And we're going to get into this because everybody online is talking about, look at these pictures. This is not where stuff was. Look at that whole kitchen counter is now clean and everything is on the kitchen table. Lana, this is, they're messing with it. I'm like, no, you don't understand. And that's why I'm showing this, because I want everybody to understand that you are allowed to move things when you photograph things and when you're processing a scene. Okay. And it comes because there's phases of when you're taking pictures. You take a picture of the scene as it is when you first arrive. Then you're taking pictures while you're processing different items. Okay. Or you're getting, hey, you start noticing things. So, hey, come over here and get this right here, this right here, this right here. Okay. You're still going to go around in like the same way that you went through the first time. That way that they go in the same order. And then you're going to be taking photographs because there's going to be a processing and when things would be getting moved. So there isn't like Idaho State Police didn't go in there and manipulated things. That's not what happened at all. So, overall, photographs are generally taken with a wide angle lens to capture a wider field view in a single photo. Makes sense. The camera should be positioned to take photographs in a landscape orientation for the majority of overall photographs. Landscape, baby. Landscape, yes. So MPD, when they're taking their photographs, not sure which way his camera was, doing his thing. But I think on a couple of them, his camera was definitely not landscape. Overall, photographs are taken so that they overlap one another. God, that makes I can't believe that you even have to say that, but you do. All of us could be photographers after you read this. You're creating a panoramic view of the area. The most common way to take overall photographs is the corner method. Oh, this would be on our test. The photographer goes to one corner of the room and takes several photographs as they rotate their body. They then proceed to each corner and repeat the process until the room has been completely photographed. Oh my God, really? That's how that happens? Oh, makes sense. You guys, and that is called the corner method. So on our test here that we're going to have, don't think we're not taking a test here at the end. I'm quizzing us. And I'm going to see who's passing this shit. The side method is when the photographer positions themselves at the approximate middle of the wall and shoots a similar series of photographs as described in the corner method. We got a corner method. We got a middle method. The smaller the room. Oh, here we go, because there's a lot of small rooms. The smaller the room, the more significant the difference will be in choosing between methods. The corner method actually shows more square feet per photograph than the side method. Overall photographs should be taken at least twice. Imagine that. The first occurs prior to the introduction of any scales. Perfect. Yep, sure does. So no scales, no evidence markers, nothing like that. The next occurs after evidence markers and or scales have been placed and may be repeated as additional evidence markers are placed. By doing two different sets of photographs, the photographer shows the scene as it was found, unaltered, exactly what I just said, and also shows that the addition of evidence markers isn't obscuring anything. And guess who failed in this department? This is a big problem in the Sheldon Jeter Jr. case, and it'll be exposed here really, really soon, because you want to talk about when and what a crime scene, when you're talking about his bedroom that they took pictures in. Yeah, can't wait to blow that nut out of the water. Speaking of which, Scott Roeder is officially on the Sheldon Jeter Jr. case. If you guys didn't know that. So happy for Sheldon. The purpose of relationship photographs is to frame the evidence item in conjunction with some obvious landmark evident in the overall photographs. Imagine that. When dealing with a number of similar items, such as, a cartridge case, like bullets, the addition of evidence markers allows the viewer to discern one item of evidence from another. Exactly. Again, big thing in the Sheldon Jeter Jr. case. By photographing each of those items in relation to a landmark with the scene, the viewer can then determine the location of each of those items of evidence within the scene. That's going to help a jury. That's for jurors, in my opinion. The purpose of identification photographs is to distinguish an item of importance with the scene, often something to be collected as evidence. So remember, on the first day, they only collected 56 pieces of evidence. They said at the scene on day one. At this scene, 56 pieces. 56 pieces. Okay. Put that in your back pocket there. 56 pieces of evidence was collected at Idaho4 scene. Day one. Day numero uno. And that's not counting the 182 pictures that were taken by the MSP dude. Or I'm sorry, that actually is with, because that was on a CD. So 56. All right. And that would mean when you would swab something, because items 17 through 43 are swabs. Okay, so 56 pieces, and items 17 through 43 are swabs. Okay, so the CSI should fill the frame with the item of interest. If the evidence marker doesn't have an incorporated scale or evidence markers aren't used, there are numerous times in which the addition of a scale in the photograph would be prudent. If a scale is to be used, the item should first be photographed without the scale, then with the scale. Okay, makes sense. At least one of the photographs should show the marker, if utilized, or other identifying information in order to distinguish the item from the other similar items. If an item of evidence is going to be photographed once it has been moved, okay, this is everybody that's talking about these pictures from the kitchen. Okay, this is why I wanted to start this way, and then I'm going to show you guys some pictures. If an item of evidence is going to be photographed once it has been moved from its original location, it should be set on a clean surface. Butcher paper, plain evidence sack, plain envelope, etc., to avoid contamination or cross-contamination, and that's where your problem is going to be. Okay? It says if an item of evidence is going to be photographed once it has been moved, it needs to be on a clean surface. And they are recommending that you use butcher paper, plain evidence sack, plain envelope, etc., to avoid contamination or cross-contamination. And I think that's something that you might be able to argue, but I'd have to see, again, we don't have CSI's photos. We don't have their photographs. The photographer should be cognizant of potential contamination of scene photographs. Other personnel, CSI tools, and or materials, response vehicles, and other items that are not material to the scene should not be contained in the photographs. That's like a big, big no-no. If a person or item is inadvertently photographed, the image should be captured again with the person or item out of the frame. Now, I'm going to tell you guys something about the Sheldon Jeter Jr. case. This cock bastard from Aliquippa Cop got in one of the cars that was inside the tape and moved it outside the tape. Okay, it was the 911 caller's van. He gets in the vehicle and moves this man's van out of the crime scene tape. And I said to myself, wait a second, this is the same cop that got into Sheldon Jeter Jr.'s SUV after he would have touched this steering wheel, got into Sheldon's SUV just a couple hours later to then move that one and drive it to the barracks. You didn't tow it. And then you're going to sit here and say that you found gunpowder residue. Oh, well, interesting. Well, that's funny. The cop was the last person to drive that vehicle. And before he drove the vehicle, he was in another vehicle that he moved out of the tape, which was the supposed 911 van, which I needed to see because there was a discrepancy on the make model of the van based on camera surveillance footage. And then it's just conveniently moved out of the crime scene tape so that it could not be photographed. And therefore, we could not then see the van that actually was the 911 caller driving. I've never seen and heard such fuck up in my life. Do you think that it got brought up in trial? No. Because Sheldon's lawyers didn't even open up the discovery. Anyways, so here, straight up saying that you should not be moving anything, and that if you happen to get a person in the photo, you need to retake the photo and say, hey, you guys need to move from where you're at because I need to get this picture. And you don't delete it. Mirrors and other reflective surfaces, framed art, windows, can present problems when photographing a scene. If the photographer cannot position themselves in such a way to prevent their reflection from being captured, a tripod, God, I love that word. A tripod should be utilized to capture the image. This is what you're supposed to do in order to make sure that you are not in it. We ride for Sheldon. Comparison quality photographs are most often taken as a way to capture evidence that may not be collected or whose collection may not fully document the details of the evidence. So again, comparison quality photographs are most often taken as a way to capture evidence that may not be collected. Because remember, at that crime scene, you have the people that are taking the photographs, right? They're not deciding. The question should come down to is, okay, who's deciding what, who's making the decision to test what, to swab what? And the way that you look at I'm going to show you the Fox Digital diary dump, and because they were taking pictures of them doing stuff like this, okay? My question is who was making the calls to say, hey, did we like, hey, over here, we have this, we want to swab this, who was calling the shots with that? We would have found that out at a trial. Right now, we don't have that answer because there wasn't a trial. I just want to know who was calling the shots with what's going to be taken and what's not, and who's calling the shots on what's going to be swabbed, where it's going to be swabbed at the scene when they were doing stuff at the scene. There was set to testify because 12 different lab personnel people worked on this case, and they were responsible for reports in this case, compared to like Delphi, where only there was 3 people that took photographs, but there was only one person that worked in the lab, and there was only one person that testified to all the DNA and the swabs, everything, any report that was done in that lab. Only one person did it. And I'm going to be doing a live down the road to show the comparison of what the Indiana DNA scientist 2 lab manager was saying in the Delphi case, and comparing it to what people that had testified, or at least their reports or what they were claiming, and how they just completely clash. It's just interesting because Indiana would never use touch DNA, they said, and they would never use IgG because it's so unreliable. Like those were quotes out of, and that they didn't send hairs. It was just, it's pretty remarkable when you want to compare what was done in the Indiana case with the Delphi case, where you're talking about stabbings. It's the same thing. Those girls were stabbed, killed with a shot knife. Same thing with the Idaho4 case. And to hear, well, basically Idaho is telling me that they would never do what Indiana did, and Indiana's telling me that they would never do what Idaho did. Lana was on point with that testimony, wasn't I? Didn't I do a good job that day? When you got to read the transcripts, what'd you think? Were you like, man, Lana said this is exactly what happened. And I was so shocked, women doing false memories. Like, because obviously I'm following the Idaho4 case, like, and then I'm at the Richard Allen case in the courtroom, and I'm like, what the heck is going on here? Everything that I'm hearing in this that's coming out of this expert's mouth is everything opposite of what they are saying to do in the Idaho4 case. And I was just like literally so confused. They didn't test shit though, because they knew who did it. Yeah, that's a good question. It's kind of the same thing with the Idaho4 case for me. Why aren't you testing the blood? Why aren't you doing a IgG on the unknown male B and unknown male D? Like, what's going on here? You had no idea what was going to come back on the sheath because you couldn't see the button snap DNA, right? Here you physically see blood, know it's unknown male, single source for one of them, but there was a mix with a female source. Well, if there's a mix of blood with a female source, that seems like the blood of somebody else that wouldn't be Brian Kober is mixed with the victim's blood, which would be significant, Harris. Very significant. Oh, is my boy DB in here? What's up, BB? That's your education and experience, Lana. Oh, is it just shining through? Thanks, DB. Appreciate that. Hold on, I need to drink some water. Ugh. You guys, I'm not going to lie. I never thought that these pictures would surface. Do you understand how off the hook my dollhouse is going to be now? I was ordering dollhouse furniture last night to recreate the scene. You know, I never thought we would see any of these. And so now I just went out and bought some for my dollhouse. I spent about I think it was like $36 last night. I got a sectional. I got a beer pong table. I got little cups. So moving on. We go all out over here. All out. It's not to the way that it's to scale is that it's a 12-to-1. It's a 12-to-1. I think that's what they're supposed to do. I was looking into that. I'm just trying to compete with Bill Thompson. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I'm definitely trying to compete with Bill Thompson. It's a who's who. So let's see. I heard Bill Thompson's gonna try to make a book or some type of documentary. And if he's holding back information for that big reveal and expose, I will drag him. That better not be happening. Okay, so we're going to pass on all of this. Actually, hold on. Comparison quality photographs are most often taken as a way to capture evidence that may not be collected or whose collection may not fully document the details of the evidence. They are often taken of impression evidence. They are often taken of impression evidence, such as latent prints, footwear impressions, tire impressions, and tool mark impressions. So that was like a big thing with the Richard Allen case of the tool mark impressions. I was just reading Oberg shit again last night. It makes me sick. So yeah, we're going to pass on this part because this has to do with, the camera used for comparison quality photographs should have interchangeable lenses. That's like a no-brainer. The following features and utilize the following tools. So you can use and then just list off. Like I'm not going to sit here and say off camera flash capability. Come on. Like these are ways that you would be able to do things with your camera. Okay. When capturing a comparison quality photograph, the camera should be mounted on a tripod or a quadrupod. Is that right? I've never even... With a lens at least 90-degree angle to the plane of the evidence, using a remote shutter release, utilizing a scale at the same depth as the impression, and at the greatest depth of the field possible. A scale that has been checked against a NIST certified ruler should be used for comparison quality photographs. When photographing footwear and tire impressions, the following procedures should be followed as appropriate based on the impression. Capture overall photographs from at least 4 different angles around the perimeter of the scene. The tripod should be positioned higher than necessary and the lens adjusted in order to fill the frame with the impression. If the tripod is low, the lens adjustment is wider than necessary, which creates a distorted angle or distorted image. So place the evidence marker next to the impressions or impression. Fill the camera frame with the impression, scale, and evidence marker. Set the camera f-stop to an appropriate setting to ensure sufficient depth of field to capture the entire impression in focus. So all of that shit, right? When photographing dental evidence, which we're not going to talk about it because it's not something that happened in this case. Okay, indoor scenes may contain numerous rooms or areas. Go to this part. A CSI should photograph the entire scene for overall location and condition, but may not need to take relationship and identification photographs if there are no relevant items in a room or area. The location of a scene should be documented by a street address, a business sign, or other equally identifying markings. House numbers are often located on the front face of the house. Molly couldn't find it, but there's 1122 right there. So stuff like you're going to take pictures of that. The location of outdoor scene may be difficult to document photographically as they don't necessarily have identifying markings readily available or visible. I think that always for me, it's like the distance thing. So if identifying markings are a distance from the area of interest, the photographer should consider taking a series of photographs that show the path. Ah, makes sense, right? Yes, yes. And then you should be stating how far each one was when you were in. God, it makes so much sense. So I wanted to always know like points of interest in that area would be like the you know, they said that the house next to it was 50 feet or that where the window was or from Xana's window and things like that. But wouldn't it be just the same basically from every point in that house? Like Kaylee's room or the patio up top and the patio downstairs outside. I mean, so when photographing a living person, identification and condition photographs should be taken. When documenting a living person, the background should be considered. The background should be neutral and should not be prejudicial to the subject being photographed. To document the identification of a person, a minimum of 5 photographs should be taken. Front of person, head to toe, left side of person. Oh, wow, look at that. That's a living person. When the condition of a person's clothing or body is important to document, relationship identification photographs should be taken. Let's go to let's talk about tattoos and stuff. Okay. If the circumstances indicate that there was contact between individuals, so this would be a big thing, contact, it's a knife. The area of contact may be photographed. If hands were involved, both the fronts and backs of the hands should be photographed. If any sensitive areas are to be photographed, the subject's dignity should be a primary consideration. There you go. Depending on the nature of any injury, it may be necessary to photograph it as found and then photograph again after it has been cleaned. Do you understand that these pieces of shits did not take any pictures at the autopsy? Are there not autopsy photos? Do they not take notes? Tell me that there's autopsy photos. Oh, I think it was that they wanted a body worn camera because I think Ann Taylor was trying to figure out what the purpose of 3, like Vargas was there, Tolson was there, I think somebody else was there too. And it's like, what are you guys doing there? If you're not taking notes, if you're not taking pictures, what are you doing? So who was taking the pictures of the autopsy photos? It had to be a CSI person. Tell me it was a CSI person. We'll find out. So I want to backtrack and say that I think I kind of said that wrong. Vargas, Ann Taylor wanted to know what those 3 people were doing there because they didn't take any notes. She was saying, did you guys take written notes? What'd you guys do there? Did you wear your body worn camera? What were you doing there? Because Bill Thompson was like, we don't have any of this material. And so I think Ann Taylor was trying to track down like who was doing what at the autopsy. So each set of photographs should be taken both without and with a scale for reference. When photographing a deceased person, here we go. When photographing a deceased person, relationship, identification, and condition photographs should be taken. Photographs of the decedent should include, as available, an overall photo of the body from head to toe. Photographs should be taken of clothing, jewelry, and injuries as the body is found. If additional areas of interest are discovered as the medical legal, what? Medical legal, it would be the investigator that does a cursory examination of the bodies. That could be also I mean, the corner's not really supposed to. Those areas should be photographed as well. When relevant, identifying characteristics, tattoos, piercings, unique skin markings should be photographed both for the relationship identification. When the body is moved to facilitate removal from the scene, any areas of the body that were previously obscured, so if they were laying on their back, so any areas of the body that were previously obscured by the decedent's position should be photographed. The area under the body should be photographed as well. They did a horrible job with the Brian Drake case, and it was the same people, the Idaho State Police, CSI people. An absolute horrid job taking pictures of that scene. When photographing a vehicle, identification and condition photographs should be taken. So make sure you get that VIN number. The overall condition of the interior, the exterior. Oh, wait, here. When photographing a pool of water, how about a pool of blood? A reflection of light on the surface is captured. A polarizing filter may be utilized in order to visualize below the surface into the pool of water. What about a pool of blood? In crime scene investigations, witness vantage points may be important. No frickin' way. Wow. There it is. Dylan Mortenson's vantage point. Okay. Now it's going to be important to talk about the beer pong table with that vantage point. Okay. So, it's right here in 9.33. Overall, photographs should be taken of the area from which a witness is reported to have seen something. These should have been taken. Okay. Also, wouldn't that be Molly too? Good golly, Miss Molly. And Bethany, like, lay in that bed. I want you to see if you see that flash. Where could you possibly see a flash? I want the lights off. I want you in that bed. I want you laying on the side if you're looking at your phone. I want you laying on your back. I want you laying on your tummy, turning your neck back. Then when you hear something and then you look, I mean, yeah. The camera lens should be set to approximately 34 mm in order to photograph the approximate equivalent to what a human eye sees. Oh, damn, right there. Hot damn. Look at that. I learned that's new for me. How about you guys? It's a newbie. Like, boom. I'll make that one pink. Photographs should be taken from the witness location, documenting their point of view. The LizQ imaging system captures a series of digital images that can be utilized to construct a near 360-degree spherical representation of the crime scene. The sphericals may be combined to create a virtual crime scene, which may include audio files, video files, and other files relevant to the case. Guys, you guys see, like, I mean, this should be... So Dylan's vantage point is really important. The beer pong table being where it was, very important to me with that. I mean, it's... You guys, there's a checklist. There's... Specialized software can be used to create sphericals, combine sphericals, and determine locations and or dimensions of items. Return to scene software can create a full virtual crime scene that allows the viewer to navigate through the crime scene as if walking through it. Zoom in to see items in greater detail, and follow links to access related video, audio, and document files. I want this LizQ, man. Diagram and sketches. A diagram or a sketch of the crime scene serves as a graphic document to show the layout, orientation, and interrelationships of the scene and the evidence. It depicts pertinent portions of the scene and supports the photographs and notes taken at the scene. Guess what? I was told that they only did the Pharaoh and any type of LizQ with both of the bedrooms. I think that if they didn't do anything with the living room and or kitchen, that's... I just disagree with that. I disagree with. I think that it's important to do the living room. I think anywhere there would be blood, but so okay. Now let's look at. I'm gonna take this down for a second, and I'm gonna share with you guys some of these photos that I want to talk about. But first, okay. Okay. Talk about Murphy. So if you go based off of the words in the report, when they first went through, Murphy was on the bed, was laying on Kaylee's bed. And then when they went back through with taking these pictures, they had to get Murphy out, they said, from underneath the desk. Now I can tell that this picture is taken vertical. Otherwise, you can just tell when pictures are like that. That's a vertical picture. It's not landscape. But anyways, I don't know if he was purposely trying to document the dog, but I don't know if he was just documenting the fact that they had closed the door to keep Murphy in there, and then they then are documenting that they're opening the door, but Murphy is underneath the desk. Okay, so I have a couple things I want to say about this. I've been talking to some of my friends that rescue dogs, animals, pets, and she said that this really throws her off if all these doors were open and if they first went in there and Murphy was just laying on the bed. And I said, yeah, well, what do you think about the fact that it was after the dog would have seen police officers and what they were wearing that the dog became scared and went underneath the bed? I mean, underneath the desk. You know, and that there's no blood on Murphy at all. So I just asked about the appearance, what they were wearing. These officers were clad in all black. Would that have anything to do with anything? You know, why would the dogs be on the bed? Why wouldn't the dog be underneath the desk? I would think like the whole time, you know? The dog wouldn't have stayed covered under the desk for hours. Well, I think that. Oh, that's a great point. You like that one? Yeah. So I was like, you know, the dog seemed fine until they saw the police, and then the dog became scared of, you know, LE or what I mean, I don't know if the smell. I mean, dogs have really good smell, right? So yeah. Anyways. I guess I'm questioning if let's say Dylan went in there in the bedroom and opened the door, or if it was Bethany, or like what would the dog have done? You know? Anyways. So it was just something that we were conversing about. Like, she's big on that dogs can smell fear. the barking at 4:17, that was when it would start, and that dogs basically speak like humans do. So like you have a playful bark, you have a the mailman type bark, you have she was mentioning that. So we just had a nice little conversation about it. So I just throwing out some stuff to you guys that the dog was on the bed, and then the cops come in, but it's like this though. The dog is on the bed, and then after the dog doesn't go under the desk. It's like the dog's on the bed, then they close the door. Then the dog, when they reopen the door, the dog is under the desk. Okay. Like it went there right, not when somebody was trying to like go get the dog. Okay. It was like, open the door, saw the dog was there. Okay, we want to contain the dog to keep the dog in this room, right? So we closed the door. It would be during that time that the dog then went and hid underneath the desk. Okay. My question would be is on the body cam, when the police get there and they open up that door, does the dog start barking? Is on the body cam, I just want to know if the dog is barking at any point in time when the cops get there. When the cops open up the door, then they close the door. But then the dog goes and hides. Think about that. The dog goes and hides. I'm just curious if Murphy barked when they first opened that door. And it would be on the body cam, right? So this photo was taken by Snyder when they went back upstairs and they reopened this door again, because at the first time with Noonan's body cam, when they went to go clear it, the door was open and the dog was just laying on the bed. Then Gunderson decides to close the door to keep the dog in there, to not be going into any of the rooms. And when they went back up there, because Snyder then takes camp pictures, so he's working his way up. So then when they get back to the top floor, they have to open up this door because they had shut it. And when he opens up the door, he just takes a picture like, this is what, when I walked into the room, this is, and then here we just happen to see down there that you can see little Murphy's paw. And so anyways, just wanted to point that out. But I'm curious if the body cam has any barking when Noonan's goes upstairs. I'm curious then if these two guys had their body cams on, if the dog was barking, but it was after the dog would have seen the police that the dog then goes and hides. After that door was closed, during that period of time, the dog goes and hides. So anyways, next up. Okay. I want to just point something out. And I'll be moving on quickly from this, but it wouldn't be like me if I didn't point it out. All right. So back in the day, I used to have one of these white, short little extension cords. And because all of our cell phones have like short cords to plug in and keep it charged, here, Dylan's like, I'm smart. I have my extension little mini. I wrap it around the top of my bed, and then that's where I plug my phone in. Okay. And so she's plugging it into an adapter down there. See that? So that's how she would plug in her phone, would be plugged in into that extension cord that's like right up against her bed like that, which is nice because it keeps your cord from not bending and stuff. It's a really smart way to do it, in houses where you only have like one outlet or something. Also, there's a fan there, okay? A fan right there. And when those are on you, if you're sleeping and you have a fan just blowing on you guys, okay, that's what it looks like to me, that's a fan. That would distort everything. Like if that was on, if her fan was on, I can't believe if they did not ask any questions about that. Ethan's room and Xana's room, they had a fan too. But if you have a fan blowing on your face like that, what are you hearing? You're hearing that. And it can also like zone the noise out, deafen it. It's enough to distort something. But I would think that in November, like your fan isn't, I could see like August, July, June. So anyways, no talk about the fans. I don't care if it's little. I don't care if it's big. All right. It makes noise. It's not a hybrid. Okay. It's not a hybrid fan. No noise. Here you go. Enjoy. Okay. Dude, people that like to, okay. I'm going to tell you guys a little story. One of my college roommates, not my college roommate, one of my college teammates, okay, we're at basketball practice. And she gets her AC bill. And this AC bill is astronomical. Like it's for a college kid to get a $400 AC bill in a month. You're like, what the hell? So she was talking to the coaches about, hey, I spent all my per diem money and I can't pay this bill. And we're like, I'm not going to say the person's name, but like, let's just call her Sue. Sue, let's just call her Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark, how the hell, what the hell? How do you have a $400? And then people that lived with her spoke up and were like, we know why. And I said, well, why? And she's like, well, then one of the other roommates for her, another teammate of mine was like, because anytime she knows that she's going to be banging, she goes out, jacks down our AC to like 65 because she's calling over so-and-so or so-and-so and so-and-so. And that's why our AC bill's like that. I die laughing. I said, wait, what? Come again? She's like, yeah, we know why our bill's like that. And I'm over here like, wait, she takes the AC down to 65 because she's calling over so-and-so or so-and-so. Yeah. And then they have their little fest for hours. Dead. Okay. I said, okay. Exit stage left. Like, I was like, all right. And so it was just funny when she's like trying to get the coaches like, hey, you guys need to pay this bill. I don't know why this AC is like this. Something must be broken. No. Dude. So anyways, needless to say that bill got paid, but I don't know if the real reason ever came out. So yeah, moving on from that, but there's a fan. I would call that a sex fan. I don't care what anybody says. I'm calling it a sex fan. That's what it reminds me of. It's a joke, guys. Take a joke. I have no idea why she has a fan there, but it is November. And that fan is going to make at least some noise that it could potentially, like, if you're going to be hearing something like, I'm here to help you, I don't know. Anyways, moving on to the next picture I wanted to show. Next pick. Okay. Now, see, this is where mainstream media has failed all of us. This next picture. What in the world were they thinking by putting this out? Okay. And everybody's like, where is this taken from? Where is this? Well, thank God. If you know the layout of the house and this little nook right here, you have one of two choices. But see, then I was like, wait a second, that flooring isn't the same as the downstairs flooring. And in Dylan's bedroom, there's this little nook. And I'm going to show you guys what I mean when we get to something. So, but right when they just posted this, I'm like, whose room is this? Right? What is this? Where is this? But I had to pay attention to the it was like, okay, is this one of the downstairs? Is this Bethany's? Is this the other room? But this is why mainstream media should have never done what they did when they put these out. Okay, nobody should ever have to guess where this is. And holy crap, like, what is all that shit? You know? What is that? It's 2022. What is all this paper shit? You know, college, you don't have like papers laying around like that. Like you have your laptop and you're submitting your written work. Like that's what a freaking detective's desk looks like. You know, like what is all this paper? And I'm like, that looks like me. Like look at all that crap, right? Look at what is this? I was just like, just bizarre. And then there's no, but this again, we shouldn't have to play guess away, you know. And this has nothing to do with like the party portion of my thing. Like this is here regardless, party or not. Like this has, if this is what you do at a party, is have notebooks and loose leaf paper and looks like what flashcards that are green. I mean, I don't know, neon flashcards. But this has nothing to do with a party. Looks like somebody was trying to get to something maybe underneath the desk. I mean, that chair isn't even pushed all the way in. I don't know. At the end of the day, I was like, I'm not going to play guessing games. But thanks to mainstream media, that's what they put out. Like, what does that even show? What the so stupid, so irresponsible. Let's see next. Okay. I'm only showing this picture for the purpose of I went around because I wanted to know if the light switches were down or up when pictures were taken. And I'm not even going to show it, but there's some stuff that I'm waiting for Scott Roeder. But the light switches, the two that I paid attention to, they were down. And then I thought to myself, well, wait a second. Back in those older homes, nobody ever really used those light switches because you had to plug into the wall and then it was just, I go with a lamp. So like, is that even, I kind of like probably know a little bit more. So I'm going to go to this picture, which is the kitchen. And in college, we used mixers when we drank our vodka. And so here, just want you guys to see that juice right there. That looks like a perfect mixing for a shot. Same thing is that Sunny D over to the left. But something that I want to point out is look at how greasy that bag is. And which is going to be the Jack in the Box bag. But look at how greasy that is. Okay. See how greasy that is? That is greasy. That is super greasy, right? Yeah, the OJ, that's for mimosas. Yeah. But let me tell you what starts happening. Then you just start, you're like, oh, I just want a mimosa. And you just start doing shots. Let's be honest. That's what we did on Saturdays. That is some greasy bags right there. But that's going to end up being the Jack in the Box bag. But we're going to talk about something. We're going to talk about this Jack in the Box. We're going to talk about the stairs. And I have a question. A big question. And that question is, let me get to the photo that I want to use. Okay. Okay, when we had people over at our house, the refrigerator was used for anything that was ours, our beer, our what food, anything. But if we're having like a party over, it was like our stuff isn't coming out of the refrigerator, so other people's shit can go in there. I can promise you that. Okay, like it's and so we saw those cases laying around, the empty cardboard cases. And those would definitely not have been ours if I lived in this house. Our stuff would be in the refrigerator, 1000%. And therefore, we would never have, our shit would never be out like that. So I thought it was interesting when you go to Ethan and Xana's room, and I say it like that because I think that he pretty much was there all the time. If you want to say Xana's room, that's fine. And I was curious about this Coors Light. I was very curious about this Coors Light case there. You guys see? Okay. And what caught my attention was the Coors Light case, and the bag right next to it, which is a Taco Bell bag, and the blood, and then that transfer up top on the Coors Light to the left. Really, really interested in that. And then to the left of that, you can see the tag on what I believe is a sweatshirt, and it's got blood like right there. And so I'm really curious to see what Scott Ritter has to say about this. And the reason that this is blurred out, that's the mirror. In the reflection of the mirror, you can see stuff. So if anybody's wondering that. But yeah. That stain on that cardboard Coors Light, very interesting to me. Right there. See that? It's like some type of a transfer, in my opinion. So we're going to ask that question to Scott on Tuesday. Again, this is in Xana's room, and that's her desk. Okay. And that's where this. So I said to myself, wait a second. Why is there a Coors Light case right there? I'm curious if I'm curious of when it got, like when it was like when it would be there, because Xana lives in that house. Ethan is there. Like, why wouldn't my beer be in my refrigerator? Or was this something that they had just gotten? People were over, and so since like 4 or 5 of them were in that room, and since, hey, come in here if you want some Adderall, we'll crush it up like college kids do. People brought over a case of the beer, that's theirs. So I was just really curious about that and when that was there, and who all was in that room drinking, because I would just think that people that house belongs to, their beer is going to be in the refrigerator. Unless it was something that was just brought over relatively recently and they came into my room and were hanging out in there. But I'm not, why would I want to drink cold, warm Coors Light? And then as you can see, there's a Coors Light can right there. And I'm just curious if they tested that, because I would just want to know if was Ethan drinking that? Was Xana drinking Coors Light? And then these roommates, they know what people drink, so these would just be questions you could also ask the roommates. Who's notorious for drinking the Coors Light? Who's notorious for drinking this? Da-da-da-da. Anyways, I'm curious of that transfer, though. I'm curious why that, with that bag also. Yeah. Moving on. Okay. Here it is. Now we're going to talk about Jack in the Box. Think about this. Molly, DoorDash driver. Ann Taylor specifically, the state said that, hey, we're going to use Xana's, what was it? Yeah, here. This is the picture I want to show them really quick. They put in the records to say we're going to use business records from DoorDash, and they attached Xana and Ethan's DoorDash, they said. And then Ann Taylor comes back and she's like, well, first of all, this isn't right. Whatever you're saying that is attached here, it's the same copy for both. And so it was, I can't remember if it was Ethan's or Xana's right now, but it was just one of theirs. And Ann Taylor was like, well, what would you be using this for? And then the state come back and said that, you know what, we're not going to use those now. We're going to pull them back. Okay. And so that got me thinking, because Ann Taylor's over here like, what do you think that you're going to be using Ethan's, DoorDash account for, or Xana's? And it's like Ann Taylor's like, what are you thinking you're going to use this for? And I think she's thinking that because you're going to be using, or well, in my opinion, it's like neither one of them are going to show anything about this order. You're going to have to go with the delivery of the house and its history. Okay. Or was it something that you guys got from the feds and this is the first time Ann Taylor seeing it because the stuff that she saw was from whatever's been delivered? So I'm trying to figure that out. Well, I'm trying to figure that out. That's just off and weird. We come across this picture, and on the left side is to go upstairs to the third floor. So don't get these confused. This is just the partial steps to go up to the landing, and then you would make another turn, and then you would go up the same amount of stairs to get up to the third floor. That's going to be on your left. And then you see just to the left of those staircase, you can see a little entry into Dylan's room. See that? It's open. The door's open. You can see a little pink hat hanging. Okay. So look at that perspective of how, like literally Dylan's door is, look at how close that is. Okay. Now what you are seeing on the right is these are the stairs to go from down, or from the first level to the second level. And it's actually not all the way. It's not showing every step. I would like an Apple expert, because based on how many steps there are, would you be able to say, first of all, that a flight of stairs would register? Because it's based on how many steps, so then you would be equivalent to one floor. So you'd want to ask an expert that. Next, if we're going to look at the right-hand side, you're going to see a smashed can over here on the bottom right, okay? And then you're going to see it's totally like laying over smashed, okay? Then a couple steps up from that, there's something like a wrapper. There's something on the, right there. It looks like a little airport bottle shot, possibly a fireball. Okay, you see that? And then over here to your left, you have these cans are also like over sideways. But then you have right here, perfectly standing and looking like a pristine cup with a straw in it. And it looks like, and it is none other than a Jack in the Box drink cup. Okay. And that's where the DoorDash came from that night. Now, I was looking at these and I said, shit. I said, you know what's interesting about that is everything else in this picture looks like worn and used. Okay. You got, these are knocked over. I'm telling you, that looks like a fireball. That round red rim up there looks like a shot. Everything. And then if you even go one step further, look at that. Like all nasty. If you go down on the first level, you're going to see right when you walk in the door, there's also a used can. Okay. And then here you have this right here, which is looking really, really, I don't know. It just seems out of place. It seems like it's standing straight up. And it's more importantly, holy shit, it's a Jack in the Box cup. And Jack in the Box is located 20 minutes. I mean, it's over there in Pullman. So who was drinking out of a Jack in the Box cup that day at the house that would have had to go 20 minutes to go, get food from there, come back, and hey, I still have my cup that I'm just using? Or can we say to ourselves, wait a second, didn't Xana supposedly order, or somebody ordered this Jack in the Box, and that here's Molly delivering it, and it's saying timestamp of 3:59, right? Well, my question would be is, if you were to have a cup in your hand and the bag of food, that's utilizing both of your hands. I got the cup for the drink, and I got the bag. And oh wait, if I wanted to have a knife, I'm just saying, I'd have to stop. I'd have to put one of these down, okay? In order to then have, let's say, a knife that I'm pulling, and I have my knife in my hand then, and I got my bag, but I put my hand behind my back, and if a friend is just like, oh hey, I'm bringing this over, or I'm picking it up from outside because I'm coming over and hanging out, whatever. There's that 350 person that is walking, okay, and Molly's walking at 351, and it's like, again, I'm just throwing this out there because I just want to know if this cup was ever taken. Was it tested for DNA? They would come on. Don't you going to test the straw to see who sipped out of that? Is there any DNA on it? Is it full? Is it a full cup? Okay, because I just find it really, really difficult to wrap my head around the fact that Molly is seen, or Molly says to the cops, hey, when I first got there, I pulled in the driveway and I was seeing somebody ducking down. And right there, Molly is keeping people. She's basically saying that she's seeing somebody. But then you want to look at the video and you see that Molly goes immediately to the back of the house. And how you can tell that is because if Molly would have turned into the driveway and waited and did what she said, then when she would have backed out, you would have seen those lights come and shine onto the house that's across from the 1112 camera. You don't. Also, Molly then miraculously, is walking to the point of which to put herself on a camera. Literally goes to a point in the middle of the road and puts herself on a camera. It's just bizarre, right? Also, Molly is in the back of the house and she comes in contact with 3 different either individuals or vehicles. Check this out. She comes in contact with a potential person that was walking at 350 from where Jack S's apartment over there is, okay? That's the 350 person that's walking. Then she has the vehicle that with the SUV that they're saying that would have been leaving between 352 and 353. She's back there when that happens. And then she has the 357 when the Elantra comes in and drives around and makes that loop from 356 to 358, that time frame. She's back there. She is back there with all of those encounters. The person on foot at 350, the 352 to 353 light color SUV that they have just leaving, but nothing's arriving. And then the Elantra swoop from the 356 to 358. I've never seen a DoorDash driver in my life walk down the middle of a road and saying that you're looking for a house, but you're doing that by walking in the middle of the road. Next, then you have the video that's speeding up on purpose after cars are exiting and leaving, okay? With the one exception of at 420, you see lights that come on down past where a car would have been leaving to exit on King, but boom, lights come on over there, and then boom, you see the 421 speeding away car, but that happens before that. All of that is very bizarre, and then you put a drink on the step right there. And the only thing I can think of is they always said that Xana received her DoorDash, or Xana, at first it was Xana received, she received it. But Xana's not alive to talk about her receiving it. So I'm just curious, can we get more clarification on that? Can we understand, hey, that Jack in the Box cup, just It had nothing to do with the case, and it wasn't what she ordered. So what's the receipt say? What did Xana get? Did she get a meal? Did it have a drink on it? That would solve a lot of things. Boom. Okay, that can't be it. Then you can cross that off. But also it could say this. How about a DoorDash driver who goes to pick something up and decides, you know what? I'm going to get something for myself. I'm thirsty. I want a drink. How about that? There's a lot of things for me that you can just eliminate by, did they test the cup? Is there any DNA in the cup? Did Xana get a drink order? Xana just actually got delivered just what? A cheeseburger? Cheeseburger and fry? You usually get meals. So anyways, just something to consider when seeing that cup. Why is that cup there? It's like it didn't make it up. Why wouldn't that cup make it up the stairs with the bag? If it in fact came with the bag, right? If Xana goes down, now let's say that Xana goes down to get her food. Well, the only thing that I can ever think of if I have a drink is that I don't have enough hands and I have to come back and get it. Okay? And if I was planning on coming back to get my drink because my hands were full, right? It's like, here, let me set this down because I have maybe my phone in my hand. I only have underwear on, so I can't put my phone in my pocket. So I'm going to carry up my bag, and I'm going to come back and grab my drink. And then I couldn't come back and grab it. Or, like I said, if somebody else was coming over there or somebody was just bringing it in for them, hey, I saw this was sitting outside, so I grabbed it and walked it up. But anyway, just very interesting. Very interesting that everything surrounds this whole weird situation at 4:00. That's just, when people want to say that there wasn't stuff that was going on at 4:00 there and it was just so, desolate, that's not true. Also, at 3:33, there's a person that runs out of the what they call the Shark Tank house back in the day. At 3:33, a person does run out there. That's the same time that Molly Gray writes down that she was paying somebody on Venmo for something that happened at 3:33. So I don't know if you guys remember that, but Venmo transactions. Molly Gray pays I think it was $6, but it was 3:33. And then when you go and watch the video, you can see somebody running out of the Shark Tank house, which is where Xana used to live. And people have said, yeah, the straw would not be in the drink. It depends. It depends. It wouldn't be. I think it all depends on. I just think it's interesting that drink cup is exactly from the same place that Xana supposedly or somebody ordered a DoorDash. And that if you look at everything else, it's sitting there. Everything else is knocked over. That cup is perfectly straight. Does not look like it's, worn and tore. And I was just carrying this around with my vodka soda all day. If it was like a Taco Bell cup, wouldn't have nowhere near the significance. But anyways, you just eliminate it. We don't just eliminate it. Now look at the difference of the flooring there. On the left-hand side, do you see what the floor looks like with the landing part before you go upstairs? So all the way to the left now. Look at the different flooring there. And then on the first floor, when you go up, it's got that old tile, whatever the heck they used. So you can see there the difference of the flooring. Now we're going to go like this, moving on to the next spot. I just think that a lot of the questions that you ask yourselves with these can be eliminated. And there's ways to eliminate it. So you'd be able to find out. Let's go like this. Next thing I want to show is okay. We can put this finally to rest as well. Here is the picture of. Okay. This is a mirror. This is the bathroom. And I'm going to show you how this looks with the photos of when the house was put on for rental. So just, you can see to the right here, that door that's closed. That's the mirror. And so whatever this person is doing here is doing it behind the person that took the photo, right? But I want you to look at something else. What is that? See that string? See that? See that string right there? Now keep that in mind, and we're going to come back, and I'm going to show you another picture. This is upstairs. This is the upstairs third floor. Upstairs third floor. Ready? Is it a gun strap? Is that what someone's saying? Well, hold on. I'm going to show you guys something else. But that is the third floor. But now, okay. Okay. Oh boy. Okay. Here it is. This is going to be so weird. I have no idea, but when I saw the straps, boots with the fur, came into here, and this is when CSI was in. See those straps right there? I was like, what is this device? I was like, God, I'm trying to get that. I was like, look at it. So anyways, I was just looking around. Anyways, now behind this, so I did that for the straps. That was when CSI was in there. Okay. They have other little gadgets. This is another picture of CSI in there. And I think it's a take. And so I want to show you guys the bottom. Okay, look at over there at the kitchen. Okay. See how the items are moved? And this is, I got tons of emails about this, so I wanted to say something about it. They're moved because, which they should be photographed. They're moved to here, which is the kitchen table. Okay, they put the shit here. See, like that cup. See, this is the photograph with the handprints. Okay, that's the kitchen table. The kitchen table had nothing on it before. But when they were moving and doing things, I mean, they are sloppy as hell. This stuff moved 3 different times. Okay. So I showed you guys the picture originally, where the one that Schneider took. And these are people that were Fox media people that were zooming in and getting these pictures. And so I'm just like, wow, because none of that was like that, right? They're just, and this eventually, this bag gets put over then on the kitchen, so it's moved multiple times. It's moved multiple times. And I'm just curious, like, what the fuck? How are you spilling these plants and stuff? What are you doing? Like, and everything was moved. Like I told you guys, they talk about how, if you could, you move stuff, but so that there is not cross contamination. If you're going to be moving something, why are you moving it? What is it going to be used for? Like, what's going on here, right? And so that's why I think there's like 9,000 or 13,000 photographs, you guys, is because they were constantly doing things, right? And taking different photographs, but this is again from the people that are outside Fox that are taking stuff and taking these pictures. But from this, we can at least see that stuff moved not once but twice, because we know where it was from Snyder's pics. Okay, and then you take Snyder's pics and then you look at these two and you're seeing that, okay, they were on the counter, then they moved to different spots on the counter, and when they're moving these different spots on the counter, then they're knocking stuff over, okay, because it was not spilled like that. And then they move the stuff from the counter then to the kitchen table, okay? And then I think I showed you guys the picture back a couple flips ago where then the counter is completely cleared and it looks like it, like just hey, as long as they have all of these pictures and they're documenting why they did the stuff, what they were doing, but you don't want that, they said, that cross contamination depending on if you're going to ever use an item. So, okay, next. Now, I'm going to lose my mind on this one, but I'm going to try to not lose it as crazy. But we've all seen the pics of the, here it is. Boom. Okay, take a look at that photo. Look at that photo, right? Look at that photo. You guys are going to have a quiz here. You guys picture that photo? Okay, good. Picture that photo. Okay, ready? This is Snyder taking this photograph before CSI or anything, right? Now, here we go. Let's take a look at this photo. What the fuck? What is this bag? What is this shit? This is then later. What is this shit? This shit wasn't there. So they move stuff and they put it on this table, but where's that stuff coming from? A bag of chips? Like the only chips I saw, like, I mean, maybe there's some on the ground, and I'm like, no, we looked, like, look at that. Like, so again, this is digital, Fox Digital, because I'm going to show you where this came from. I'm like, this can't be right. I'm like, let me go look at that photo again. I'm like, damn, what are they doing? Look at it. There's that. Now, there could be the bowl and the glass here at the bottom that we can't see, so I'm not too concerned with that. I'm concerned about this bag of chips. Where's this bag of chips? Where did it come from? Okay, like, what the fuck? I'm like, wait, this guy, I mean, and then I'm like, did the Daily Mail like freaking edit this shit now? But what is that? And then what about these glasses? I was like, what about these champagne glasses? And I'm like, you know what? Maybe the other one will have my. So, you know, I'm just over here like, this is okay. So I'm like, wait a second. So here, I pull this up. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, is there champagne? I was like, okay, these champagne glasses, I see them. They're right in the back of the. This is why this matters. See those champagne glasses back there? The way this is zoomed in. Okay. There's glasses in the back there. Okay, you see that? All right. So I was like, okay, then this. And then you have to ask yourself, okay, these people that are taking the pictures from outside, what are they doing with their lenses to like make these images appear that they're like where they're at, right? So I'm over here just like, at the end of the day, though, I don't know where that bag of chips came from. And if they're on the ground, then they got picked up from the ground. All right. And, they were put there. But like I said, all of this stuff would have been photographed when it's being moved and where you're putting it and yada, 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 as we just read. Champagne and shackles. Yes, that's over there. Yes, that's correct. So, but okay dokie. Now to close it out, we'll go with, I'm going to show you a link. I want to make sure this shares the way that we need it to share. All right, this is in order. Fox Digital finally did what I've been asking somebody to do for a long time. Is this sharing the right way? Okay, good. Okay. November 12th. There's that picture. November 13th. Pictures. As you can see over here, Maddie has those docs on. Maddie has the jeans on. Okay. And then she has her shirt underneath. Okay. Okay. Now, this is after homicides, Sunday, November 13th. Then you see the light bulb camera there. Light bulb camera still in there. That's the canine. That's Snyder. His report. Okay, so this is when he would be getting the information to get he gets the username and the password to get into that camera. Right there. That's Snyder. These are the pictures that the media took. I want everybody to see. When I say the media, this is Fox Digital going in order from their pictures that they took. Over here, right above the house, 1122, plastered above it. Okay. We have Gunderson, Snyder, Dollinger. Vandal alert. Moscow PD is investigating homicide on King Road, 407. Washington State University, the Moscow, Idaho Police Department is conducting an investigation of a homicide that occurred adjacent to the University of Idaho campus. At this time, we are not aware of any threat to the. That was updated at 5:21 p.m. 4 people found dead in Moscow. November 13th, U of I classes canceled for November 14th to honor student victims. There was a post over there. Now this is Monday, November 14th. The victims were, and they list them. They have pictures of a bunch of trash. 3 people in the cafeteria or whatever their dining hall. People huddled up here by a tree. There is Gunderson over there on the left. Those are MPD people. This is the area between the Moyes place and 1122. King Road, that house in the backyard. Again, this is Fox Digital's dump. Bill Thompson, Chief Fry. This small picture right here in the middle, that's, see that with the little bald head back there? That's the lead for Idaho State Police, Gilbertson, on the top floor of the balcony there. This is the picture off to the left. They want to talk about this blood. Again, these were taken all. Now here we're going to get into some crime scene stuff. This tub here. Look at this tub. Tote. Don't know what's in it. Looks like it's stuff that's been packaged up, though. Meaning not like the victim stuff that we're giving back to the families. Talking about packaging and sealing stuff that they were taking, that they've done. And that's just my guess. Again, a picture. Here we go. Some of the chicks from ISP Forensic. So over here to the right. This was in their B-roll drop film. Now we're talking about some tripods. Here we go. Now, they released these photos in order based on the date of the picture. I've been begging people to do this. I was like, all of you people that are in mainstream media that were there and had somebody, I know that you guys have a shit ton of B-roll film. I know that you guys have a shit ton of photographs. Put them in order and release them. Put them in order and release them. Let's compare what you guys documented over this whole course of this time and compare to these reports. Like, come on. Like, Moscow Police Department put out their reports. Now put out photographs that we can go ahead and cross-reference to say, like, yeah, they were there. Yeah, they were doing that. So here, remember I was talking about this at the beginning about this tripod, and you would set up a camera. Look at that. Then you can see the people that are going in, putting on booties to go in. They released their continuing coverage. This was like 3 minutes and 16 seconds. Then here's some photos of, this is where they were able to zoom in and to try to get pictures of what they were doing. Now, I have no idea what this is, but over there to the right, to the left, I'm going to move on because I think I know what that is. But you guys can. So right there, do you see that table? It has nothing on it on the left. Now they're saying this was on November, what was it? We're into the 14th here, okay? We also have pictures, though, when it becomes completely cluttered. Four University of Idaho students killed in crime of passion. So that was all. Those were all pictures from the 14th. Now we're going into Tuesday, November 15th, which is where we're headed now. So on the 14th, if you could see right here, then this picture they're saying that they're taking of that kitchen table has nothing on it. It's very interesting to me. Again, we can only. So let me go here. The Chapins were interviewed. That was their first interview that they did with a local person. Then over here to the right, the They're out there walking around. Those are the only two pictures. Well, this is the only picture that they got from that day, November 15th. Now, Wednesday, November 16th, they got Scott Green on the podium. They have the front door. And then here, they have this nighttime pic that they took on November 16th. And they were spraying, okay, for the, to see if it was, if it would test presumptive for blood. Now, according to the police reports, they said that they did this on November 15th. So I'm cross-referencing that on November 15th compared to, this is a picture that was taken on November 16th of them doing that. So that's right out in front of the King or the Queen Road apartment building. Right here, this girl, I think, is Moye. I could be wrong, but the girl right there with her head down, but I don't know. Friday, November 18th. So on the 17th, this is all they put out. On the 18th, they're updating and they're saying that, hey, Kaylee and Maddie were at the corner club, Kaylee and Maddie at the grub truck, and then Kaylee and Maddie at residence. Now, November 18th, look at, they're back out here taking photographs. And they are very interested in Bethany Funk's bedroom window on the 18th. Now, you have to ask yourselves, why is this? Well, because of what Bethany Funk told investigators in a November 17th interview in Nevada with ISP, but she was at the Nevada headquarters. And Bethany Funk had an interview on November 17th. And so what happened then? On November 18th, that's when she talked about, they still had whatever she would have said to Blaker on November 13th, but that November 17th interview was more extensive. And so here they are. They go out to Bethany's room. And so they're taking pictures around Bethany's window. And then they're taking pictures around the other side, that other window, the spare bedroom window, I guess you could call it. She's also looking in, and this is when they're getting, so she's zooming in and looking at the dust from the top of the window. And then here, this is everybody standing around when they are noticing, this is when they're taking this picture back here of the actual kitchen window with the handprints. Okay. So they're taking that picture of the handprints on November 18th. Okay. Interesting, right? So it's nice when you actually see this order of when this was actually, like when these were from. And this is what I've been asking people to do that have had their peeps down there the whole time. Then you can see like over here to the left, when they took this picture, see how the window looks with the, like that's the one that everyone sees. There was nothing behind it. That's why we see nothing behind the handprint window. This is them in the backyard, putting down markers, taking pictures of evidence in the backyard. Again, this is all going to be off of those two interviews, Dylan and Bethany. They're putting down the evidence marker. They're collecting something. It's a piece of paper. There's a drone right there. Homie's getting out a drone. Now you're going to sit here and tell me all this shit was going on and nobody saw that. Like, look at how there's like no snow. Nobody saw a black glove over by those two garbage cans. Okay, now look at this. This blew me away. I was like, oh my God, this picture was from November 18th. So see how we put this all together now? The pictures and stuff being knocked over and stuff being. This was from November 18th. This person in this hazmat outfit, okay, and whatever they're doing over there, right? Now, on the same day as November 18th that they are taking these photographs and they are doing what they're doing, right? CSI peeps. Mrs. Kohlberger, Friday, November 18th at 5:54 p.m. Me too, dear lady. Me too. I do think it could just be me, though. Been kind of blue since my son moved from Pennsylvania to Washington to study in a PhD program. I miss him terribly, and I think everything is just a little less colorful without seeing him all the time. But he will be home for nearly a month at Christmas time. Yay! That would be deleted after the fact. But when this person was able to get this clip, as you can see, it was 9 months ago when they actually took the screenshot of it to obtain that. So on Saturday, November 19th, these are what these photos are from. So then on the 19th, they come back out and they're going to take. So now think about this. They would have seen the video on the 19th. Guess what they're looking for? They're trying to see if they can get, when this person speeds away at a high rate, This is Detective Mowry talking about, yeah. So they're out there looking at the tread, looking at the ground, seeing if they can get, I don't know what they're doing, but it makes sense with the docs. Saturday, November 19th, they're out there taking pictures here. November 20th, they spoke to the press, remember? That would be presser 2. And they're at the house. And now, November 20th. Now, this is Gilbertson. He's in the backyard. So think about this. November 20th. They supposedly haven't talked to Molly yet, right? They supposedly haven't talked to Molly yet. I call bullshit. And these pictures are the reasons I call bullshit. Gilbertson, is standing in the back of the house, but back up top where exactly Molly McMichael motherfucking parked. Okay? Standing right there. Why would he be standing up there on the 20th? They put a geofence location, they put a geofence warrant in on the 20th. Oh, and they got it right back. Nick Balance got it just right back to him on November 20th. Then they found an interesting person of interest's number. And they're like, okay, we want to find out who's this subscriber information belong to, blah, blah. This MEI numbers, blah, blah. 2 came back. So what are they doing here on the 20th? This is where they were. Blaker, you could see him down in here. Blaker and Gilbertson are talking to each other right there on the bottom one. And he wanted to check out that view. Then November 21st, the Chapin speak out. Also taking a picture here in the back with the garbage all still there. They didn't even, I don't know if they went through it or not. Then again, they're in the back. Look at Payne. This is on November 21st. They're strategizing from back top, November 21st. And supposedly haven't talked to Molly yet. And look at their pointing. They're clearly reviewing footage, right? They got some information. Now, no pictures were allegedly taken from November 22nd. See how it skips from November 21st? Now we're on Wednesday, November 23rd. So, on the 22nd, now, Wednesday, November 23rd, Payne is speaking to, I don't know who, I don't know what's going on, but they're showing a map here of the area. And this was at MPD. And I don't know if they were holding, I don't know what this is, but they were able to get a picture of this. I don't know if these are all law enforcement people in this room. There's just really nothing, Then a picture of Maddie's boots. Thanksgiving Thursday, November 24th. Now, that's a Latah County Sheriff's vehicle. This is Thanksgiving. And the tape's down. Latah County Sheriff person there. Interesting. On the 24th. This is when Chris McDonough goes there on Thanksgiving. Now, over here to your right, it's to Brian. So whoever's turned these screenshots in, hey, you want to go to EST? I'm about to head over there right now. Then what's good? Hey, bro, nothing much, but I've had the flu all week. Oh, try to feel better soon, man. Somehow I've managed to avoid getting sick this semester. Thanks, man. Today I finally felt good enough to go back to class. I think Monday I'll be 100%. That's good. Did you get a flu shot? Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. Hey, thanks, man. Happy Thanksgiving. Again, that's text messages between Brian and somebody. Now Friday. Now this is now beginning on Friday, November 25th. Heading to Idaho on Sunday to cover the college student murders. Student murdered for News Nation. These are pictures taken on Friday. And again, they're out by, remember, this would have been after they talked to Molly. It's November 25th. And what do we see? A man in the window. Don't pay attention to the bottom one. Look up here to the right. And it has, and I'm like, oh my God, because of what Molly is saying, that somebody was ducking down in the top. You know, she was trying to explain where this person was ducking down. Okay. I'm like, get out of here. Like, you can actually track this. You can actually track what these reports are saying and what they're writing. And then, but that window right there, if you actually zoom in, which I did, yeah. Look at, where are they again? They're back in the back. Now, nothing happens from, they said, we don't have anything to give you from November 26th, 27th, or 28th. Now, on Tuesday, November 29th, we have these photos of the cars being moved to this location. I cannot believe that they have no pictures of when a big to-deal is happening. Like, you don't see Officer Payne driving around and doing test drives in any vehicles. Like, and I said, you know what? This is D-roll. This is like F film that they're giving me. I want the B-roll. I want the, there's way more than this. There's got to be. Otherwise, they need to fire people. They need to fire people. Now, boom, daddy, ready? They're saying that on Wednesday, November 30th, that this photograph is from Wednesday, November 30th, over here to the right. And I'm like, what? Like, are we sure? I know that there's that vandal, the candlelit vigil, right? But over here's that photo that I was telling you guys about. And I'm like, that, what? You know, like, what? What? And then here is this no internet detected. Well, guess why? Because this, again, wasn't a photograph from November 13th or November 14th. So hello. Yep. Thank you. We're going to clear all that up. Nope. It was after Maury took the router. But if you go back and look at, I don't know why the TV would come on and even be showing this. So I'd have to ask somebody about a couple different things. But if you look at Kaylee's room, when they take the photographs from Kaylee's room, being there, her TV's not like on or anything, it's off. But I think, I wonder if there would be like a power reset with your TV when you're, I don't know. But these photos, then we're clearing this up. According to Fox, they came on MPD wants $20,000 for the rest. Rest of what? Then I think Steve Gonsalves has a, we'll go ahead and fundraise for that, I guess. If y'all give $1. This is, yeah. And then I was like, wait a second. I was like, there's no way that this photograph here could be from that date, because this photograph, something's off with me with this. You know, the photograph up and to the right with all the stuff on the kitchen table again. I'm like, that's not from this day. Because how is it when they're all taking the photographs of the handprint and there's nothing behind it? Then they went and moved everything back to be behind it. Hey, move everything out from the back of it. Let me just Take the photograph with everything not being on there. Okay, now move everything back. So I guess we can play photo hunt and look at this picture right here on November 30th that they took and compare this picture right here on November 30th and see if this photo here, go and play photo hunt and look and see what it looked like when it's up back. Let's see. Right here. Here we go. Boom. See the kitchen table there on the left? Nada. See that? God, Lana. See that shit? They're saying that that's the photograph that they took on November 14th. So it's going to depend on the time of day, but if they're going in chronological order, it'd be towards the end of the day of November 14th, because look at where it falls. And right there, it's dark. So then when they go back out there, it was cleared. So then they're taking their print pics. And then somehow after they see right here, the print pics. See down here in the corner bottom right. And then somehow by the 30th, there's all that shit is back on the. That's not okay. Everything that maybe it was all on the ground, and they're like, we're gonna put it all now here. I don't have an answer, guys. I don't have the answer. All I can just tell you is that according to Fox, I asked forever for them to put in order the photos that their freaking people took, and if we could go ahead and put them in order, then I can go ahead and compare the reports and say where I think that there's issues. So this is just like this is, I just geek out on this shit. This is my type of jam. Timelines. And I'll tell you that, yeah, we got a problem here. Oh, we got a problem there. And this is all just really weird to me. Then this is December 2nd, Friday, December 2nd. Saturday, December 3rd. Cowboys. There he is. Look at, it tells you what they did with the lens. Look at, see all that stuff written on it? $151 minutes, 41 minutes. What's this? Yeah. Then on December 4th, again, taking this picture. December 6th, Brian Enton is interviewing. Police zero in on frat house where 2 of the slain Idaho students went. What? What kind of headline is this? Police zero in on frat house where 2 of slain Idaho students went. They're talking about a party there. I mean, geez. Now this is on December 7th. We find, hey, we're looking for this car if you guys want to help us out, even though we already have our person. Flood the lines. And then we're going to start taking stuff out of the house. Everybody went nuts over the suitcase over here because it had Steve's information on it. So, yeah. This is them loading up the U-Haul. There's Danny Vargas over there to the left right there. What's up, girl? Wearing the Kruger's hat. I feel ya. Get yourself a Kruger. Meow. Let's give a little ringy ding ding. Danny Vargas and motherfucking VP. She's MVP, baby. MVP of the investigation, coming up with everything. She didn't even have to rehearse this. Woo! Danny Vargas, look out. Good morning, Saturday morningers. All right, let's close this out. MVP. Very important. We won't finish the rest. Clearing it out. And it was just, you guys starting to see like when you're viewing this in like the chronological order and knowing what's going on and like the I mean, I've gone over all those reports. November 7th. Hey, guess what? We can take everything out of this house. Why? Why? Unless you got like, what's up, you know? You know what's up. It cracks me up when Lana walks away. Yeah, I have to just get a drink of water. Lana has to go grab her drinks. Okay. Continuing on. Oh, that's where this picture is taken, December. So they go from December 7th. Look at this. December 7th, they give us this. And then they say, oh, you're not going to get anything for December 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. Well, why? Well, because they weren't doing anything. Look at the reports. It's insanity. There's nothing going on. Nobody's being seen. They can't get pictures of anything unless you want us to just take a picture of our, So December 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, look at the reports. And I'm just like, wow, yeah. Then the 12th here, we get this. Then unknown date. And I'm like, how are these unknown dates? Wait, what? Wait, what do you mean unknown date? And I'm like, oh my God. So then when I was doing this last night, I'm like typing all my stuff up, putting it in an Excel spreadsheet. And I'm over here like, wait a second. Now we have unknown dates. And you're going to assign one of the unknown dates to this beautiful plant that's turned over. Oh my God. Unknown date. We have no idea when we, unknown date. All of these. Oh, we've got a shower curtain. Unknown dating. Then we have outside the house. Then right there on the left, boarded up. Moscow house is boarded up. And all of those are assigned to unknown dates. Now, miscellaneous photographs and maps. This is a really good thing. This is where I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I need. Okay, so this over here to our left, you see this photograph. It is a map. Do you see King Road? Now, over in this area, it says students off-campus housing temporary closed, whatever. And then to the right of it, you see that white building. You see how there's like that parking lot right there? Okay, now, do you see where it says Queen Road Apartments? Look at where it says road. That's where the path is. There's one right there that you walk right down to get. That's where the stairs are. And when I was trying to tell you guys in my other video about why it's so important to figure out what the heck's going on here in the corner of where King is before it meets Taylor over there, is something wacky is going on. So much so that somebody is either getting into a car, turning on their car, and that's where we see those lights. And it's before we actually see the cars speeding away at 421. And so I was like, yep, look at this beautiful diagram for you guys to see. Then they take this little diagram over here to the right to show you guys where the white unmarked police vehicle, and they say not Elantra, but where it was parked the night of the whole body cam footage. And the area it's the line sight of the body cam footage. And so it's interesting. Then they want to show these pictures of the third, second, and first floor, and they're using these 3D images here. And now the top is of interest to me on the third floor of how it's situated. Because if you look, okay, yeah, here, we'll just use these. Okay. Bottom. So Bethany's room is the first two pictures over here on the left. And the third one is just from a different angle. See, it centers all around the room. Then the room that's not being occupied is right here. It's the fourth picture right here. It's all the way to the left. And then that's the middle, the picture that's like, we can see that through the peakage. Okay. And so I was able then to eliminate and say that, okay, neither one of these two rooms is the room that the picture is taken where that messy desk is. Okay. So then over here to the right is the laundry room. And the laundry room, I believe, you could see a little bit of the bathroom in it, like a shower or something to the right. So yeah, that's on the first floor. Then we get up to stairs to the second floor. Now, do you see the difference in the flooring as well? When you get up to the second floor, you see this new type of, it's like a laminate. But it's different than the bottom of the first floor. So here we are, and this is a picture of the living room and a picture of the living room. Then you have this one that's the third pick. And this third one over here, this is Xana's bedroom. Xana's bedroom, where the bed was, is up against this wall right here. So like when you would actually walk in, you have a little bit of a space, and like the bed is kind of going to be nooked around. Okay. Like when you walk in that door, you can't see where that bed was. Look at it. Then we get to, so that's all they show us with the whole Xana's room over here up to the right. Then we get to right down here, back down here to the left. And now, boom, this is Dylan Mortenson's bedroom. And the middle picture right here is the little nook. And I'm like, damn, that is Dylan's desk right there. And that's that little nook where it goes. And what she had there was a desk there. So her room has all that shit with the desk. It's 100% take it to the bank. That's Dylan's. That's how I was able to track down that was Dylan's bedroom, and the desk that was in there, that is in that little nook. Vinyl, laminate, right there. So I'm helping you out, mainstream media. That desk belongs to Dylan, and it's in Dylan's room. Okay. This is your kitchen. And right over here to your left, see that window? That's the window that has the prints. There's that wooden kitchen table. That's the prints. Okay, and yeah. And you see how that's so tiny, because when you're looking at this picture all the way to the left, you see how there's like no wall before you actually get to wall space, before you actually get to that little pantry. So this should just be able to tell you how small like this truly is. If you look at that picture, this one right here, it's in the middle left. You could see that little pantry. Now we get to the goods on the upper level. Here it is. The landing area, the bathroom. Okay. And that was the closed door then, right next to the bathroom. So that's Maddie's. Okay. That's the landing part right there. And so they put a mirror, which is a great place to do it right there, between the bathroom door and Maddie's door. There was that mirror. So when the guy was taking the picture, when he was standing off a little bit to the left and he's taking the picture, that's the railing. And whatever he's doing, he's right in front of the door. He's right, depending on how zoomed in he is. I don't, but homie is in or at the door of Kaylee's room. So we can put that to rest. Over here all the way to the right, this is what the bathroom totally looks like. Now I want you to look and pay attention, because I think there's been a little work done. I don't know if I swear that these colors have changed, but whatever, you can see that's how that shower was. It wasn't like there was shower curtains or anything. Same. You got your toilet. You got, so it's a full bath. Oh, I shouldn't say that because it's my shower, but you get my point. So this landing area, do you see the window? Let me just go back down here. Yes, this is what I want to show. Do you see the window in the middle, the third? This would be like the top, where the landing area is, but it's the stairs. And you guys see how there's a window there. So you can go back to where the bathroom is, And right next to where there's a window that's next to the mirror, and that's the bathroom window. Okay. That's the window that Molly, based off of Payne's interview of her, was like, I saw somebody ducking, and then he's like, oh, it was up on the third, she's saying the third floor, whatever. But you can barely see the third floor, whatever. But that would be the window. And so the third, that's all the way to the left when looking at the house. Then the middle window is actually the landing strip. And I'm just curious, when you're actually standing on the middle window here, when you actually get up to the landing before you go up to the next 7 steps, could you actually stand on the landing and look out that window? And can you actually see? Or is it not, or are you not tall enough? You know what I mean? Also, say fuck all that. If you are standing right here where the railing is, you would definitely be seen. You could definitely look out that window, right? So I call bullshit. I call bullshit on a lot of things. I call bullshit on the fact that, and then I was like, well, that's the back of the house. So is Molly talking about when she wants to say that she saw somebody? Because I call bullshit that she ever pulled into the driveway, right? If I call bullshit that she ever pulled into the driveway, that would mean that if she's sitting out back, on top, back there, is she seeing somebody actually in the middle window, like, or the back? Where is she seeing these people or this person who then she said had long hair, but then when she was shown pictures, I guess, of the victims, she's like, yeah, none of those are them. What? She didn't recognize them. I just, yeah. Okay. Right. That's the window in Maddie's room all the way to the right over here. Maddie's room is all the way to the right, bottom right. That's how small Maddie's room is. Look at where the door is. And look at how tiny. Like, there's just like that desk that's right there. I mean, it's right on top of it. This room was so friggin' small. So small. But her window, like, it was huge. Right? It's like, I'm surprised that they didn't make that like a slider too. Walk out, And then these two on the left here, that's Kaylee's room. And that's where her like TV was, and then her desk, and then Murphy was underneath the desk there in that little nook. All the way to the left, that's where the closet is. But the one that's on the right hand side, that little nook, she had a desk there. She had a TV above it, but Murphy was underneath that, and her bed was up against the wall over here, all the way to the left. That's where her bed was. Okay, and so when everyone's taking a picture of that television, guys, guess where that would have come from? That's from actually the front of the house. To be able to get that picture of the TV not being on is going to be from the front window, not from the back. It's from the front window. Unless, did they do some weird ass angle where they were up on Queen and they had moved the curtains over from the back? But going back and checking the layout of the house really helps when you're orienting or trying to orient the drip of photos that MSM put out. So and then you cannot get these photos anymore right here with the whole Queen Road apartments. These were really helpful because you're not going to get like this anymore right here. This portion to be able to see right this vantage point, which is a car coming along to make this loop all the way down here at the bottom left. This is a really good photo for that. And to see that it has to, when it's traveling back and where it goes. And the one right above that is an angle so you can see when it's coming and circling around Queen and how it has to like go along the building. And then when you scroll up, you can see right here, see when the people are walking through them, you see the two Queen roads apartments that are right on top of each other up here to the right-hand corner, when that person's coming and walking from all the way to the right at 350, and they walk up and through, and then they're walking through the middle portion of the Queen Road apartments and then walking towards the house, that's the 350 person. How does the 350 person walking that way not walk into the Molly McMichael at 350 walking aimlessly? Okay. Unless there's only one solution, and that would be that the 350 person walked into an apartment building and actually like this was their apartment. So then you would want to be questioning the people that are in those two apartment buildings to say, okay, which one of you fuckers were walking home last night and came home at 4, was walking at 350? Otherwise, Molly would be seeing this person, because technically at 350, she's still in the back behind the house, because she's on camera at 3:51 and 51 seconds down in front of that, in the middle of the street. So these are really helpful to orient stuff that you can't find anymore, or that Google Maps is refusing to put out. So there's that. And then right here, we put this out. This was one of the finds that we had. And this was what the house looked like. And they actually had a garage over here. And I'm like, why'd they ever get rid of that garage, man? But anyways, they knocked down this garage, and then they ended up knocking down all of these trees, okay, around the house. And yeah, and it was just an extended, then, you could park over there. So, all right. Well, I thank you guys for joining me. The rest of stuff that we already know about, but I cared about what I cared about with the crime scene photos. This doesn't matter. So on your way out, you either had an opinion whether you liked the video, whether this video sucked. Make yourself known. Thumbs it up, thumbs it down. Use the comment section of the video if you found something intriguing. Let us know about it. If you had questions about something, love the opinions. Everybody has them. And over and out. Again, thank you so much, moderators. Angie Davis, welcome. YouTube member. Hoffy Master, beautiful human being. You are Lana. Thank you. $5 for your boy. Oh, thank you, Hoffy. The Richard. I'm not always in chat, though. You are my spirit animal. Oh, I appreciate that. Back at you. Donna Martin, graduate. $20. Hey, Lana, it's 12:30 midnight in Australia. Oh, it is. And I'm having a midnight snack of lolly. They are so loud. Do you think Penny can hear me? I don't know. Donna said, thank you, Donna. Robin Jewel, super sticker, $10. Thank you so much, Robin. Appreciate that. Angel is a new member. Cheers. Welcome. Hey. Member for 10 months, the True Crime Cafe. Diego, what's up? Hey, sis, what's up? Nothing but love from you. Please keep doing the awesome work you do. I'm so grateful for you and all you do. Oh, you are my paisan. That's for sure. Hoffy Master, just because. You're a sweetheart. Jackie, look left of sofa. Black puddle covered by cases. I will do that. Thank you. What no one told Gen X became a YouTube member. Thank you so much. Welcome. September Virgo. Lana, thank you for all you do. Oh, thank you. And then September Virgo. We got some Virgos in the house. Thank you. Blue gifted 1 membership. Somebody turned green, and thank your Bluebird. That's awesome. All right, guys. We'll see you at the next one. Tomorrow night, Sunday Night Lives. Those are my usually big boom. So we'll see what I got. Till then, peace out.